Discover the 7 keys to living a more fulfilling, healthy and wealthy life. You'll find out how to finally get ahead and attract anything you want in life. Part 2. Chapter 3. Be honest. Honesty is the fastest way to prevent a mistake from turning into a failure. James Altucher: the only thing worse than a liar is a thief. Liars make life difficult and often do not realize the far-reaching effects of their actions. Lying makes us unhappy people, who constantly have to be covering our tracks and watching our backs. In fact, there are few things as toxic as a liar. We should never allow the negativity in this world to force us to become dishonest people. Lying will only put you closer to the door that leads to cheating and stealing. Quit while you are ahead. Just think about the possible outcomes of a single act of dishonesty: permanent damage to your reputation, permanent damage to your relationships, loss of income, loss of self-respect, permanently damaging the reputation of another individual. Feelings of guilt, loss of sleep, loss of trust. If you research the word honesty, you find synonyms such as honor, sincerity, fairness, integrity, uprightness, virtue and truthfulness. Being honest requires more than not lying when in a difficult situation. Being honest requires being morally upright in all things. In other words, we will try to be truthful in all things and gain the trust of those around us by means of our actions. But honesty is a very tricky thing. It is hard to list all the areas in which we need to be honest. A good rule of thumb, if you are unsure if an act is honest or not, is whether you have to hide it or deceive someone into believing you did otherwise. If you will need to hide or cover your tracks after doing or saying something, you are probably not being honest. The benefits of being honest far outweigh any challenges you may perceive as a result of this course. Think of the peace of mind of not having to rethink your every move or watching over your shoulder because you are constantly in fear of being found out. Imagine waking up and not being burdened by the heavy guilt as a result of your actions. And don't be fooled into thinking that no one benefits from your honesty. It is very easy to become attracted to and to respect someone who is honest. Most employers include that quality as being of the utmost importance when seeking new recruits or considering a possible promotion of someone within their organization. Being honest does not mean that we should volunteer all of our confidential affairs to everyone who is trying to pry into our business. Instead, we should not withhold relevant information from individuals who deserve a truthful answer. Being honest also means avoiding the various means that will pop up to get more than we deserve or leading someone to believe something about ourselves that is not true. There are, however, times when some of us might find ourselves in very catastrophic situations because we are thought of as being too honest. This is often the case when our words are not tempered with kindness. The next chapter will explore how that attribute can help us avoid a lot of the problems that can result from that sort of speech. Chapter 4. Be kind. Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Mark Twain: being kind means being warm, considerate, gentle and friendly. To get a friend, you must be a friend. Even more cliché is the saying, birds of a feather flock together. If you want to attract happy, supportive people into your life, you need to be that kind of person. Why would anyone want to be around you otherwise? As the wise Maya Angelou highlighted, long after the memory of the interaction has faded, people will remember how that interaction made them feel. When we are unkind, we make the lives of those around us much harder than it has to be. We make them feel unloved, underappreciated, and isolated when we are mean or unpleasant. Would you want anyone to treat you that way? Would you enjoy such harsh treatment? Don't you think treating people that way at work, at school or in your own home, makes your life a lot harder than it has to be as well? Kindness fosters a spirit of cooperation, even among people who do not really know each other. Surrounding yourself with people who are willing to work alongside you is far easier than trying to conquer this world alone. Being unkind envelopes a wide variety of actions. Our words are the most common form of unkindness. Being harsh, condescending or even abrupt can be interpreted as unkind. Using your words to put others down and elevate yourself is not only unkind, it is also a very selfish act that often causes more harm than good. A key aspect of kindness is being polite. Let us take some time to learn more about this beautiful quality. Why be polite? Being polite is really not as hard as some people make it seem. While it is true that being polite is becoming increasingly difficult as a result of the negative attitudes of the people around us, it is not impossible. Being polite might inflate the ego of these individuals, but our being polite is not a reflection on them. Our being polite reflects positively on our character, come what may. Individuals who are polite are often thought of as kind, principled, professional and pleasant. And with this very interconnected world that we live in, you just never know who you might have insulted. Just imagine how embarrassed you will be if you show up for a job interview, only to realize that the man you just cursed in the parking lot because you think they parked in your spot is actually the interviewer. Trust me, it has happened many times before and could happen to you. Being polite involves being respectful and considerate of the needs, feelings, time, resources, values and cultural norms of others. Being polite and kind will make you very likable and will encourage others to reciprocate your consideration. Another benefit of being polite is that it will make it very easy for you to gain the respect of those around you. Even if they do not instantly change their behavior, they will be forced to respect you and your standards. Eventually, they may change for the better as a result of your efforts. Wouldn't life be much easier if we all had jobs in which our employees, subordinates, and colleagues all treated us with respect? Respect has to be earned, and being polite is one of the easiest ways to earn it. How to be polite and kind. 1. If you have nothing kind to say, don't say it, post it on social media or even think it. Even words that are whispered to a friend have been known to turn around and bite you. 2. Don't be stingy with greetings and salutations. If you enter a room, pleasantly greet all present. When you are leaving, kindly excuse yourself. And if you are greeted, respond warmly and with a smile. 3. Do not criticize the efforts of others, especially when it is obvious that they tried very hard to accomplish a particular task. If you must offer some constructive criticism, sandwich it with some genuine commendation. 4. Be appreciative of the efforts of others. Even if what is presented is not to your liking, there is no need to make it known. 5. Try to learn a little about the cultural norms and beliefs of those around you. You do not have to share their views, you simply need to know enough not to unintentionally offend them. It is also most polite to allow them to freely express these views, without fear of being disrespected. You can always agree to disagree. 6. You do not always have to insist on things being done your way. Give someone else a chance to shine every now and then. 7. Don't monopolize conversations by speaking only about yourself and your accomplishments. Show personal interest in others by asking them about themselves and actually listening to what they have to say. 8. When someone is speaking to you, give them your full attention. Stop walking, typing or whatever else you are doing, and make eye contact. If you are busy, politely pause, evaluate how lengthy the conversations needs to be, assure them that you value what they have to say, and then arrange a more suitable time to continue. Chapter 5. Be forgiving. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Gandhi. It is not easy to forgive. The very existence of the need to use the word implies that we have been hurt in some way. Forgiving a grievance, whether real or imagined, will be one of the best gifts you can give yourself. This is so whether you believe the individual deserves such kindness or not. When we refuse to forgive, we become resentful. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison, and expecting the individual that wronged us to suffer. It can also be compared to inflicting wounds on our own bodies, and expecting someone else to feel the pain. This logic is not only riddled with flaws, it is also quite dangerous. Resentment can easily become hate, and hatred is a very ugly thing. But why do we find it so hard to forgive? If forgiving someone who hurt us will be so beneficial, why does the very idea of letting go of the hurt make us feel so uneasy? The real problem lies in the fact that none of us want to continue reliving the horror of whatever wrong was done to us. But as we continue to think about how badly we were hurt, we unconsciously begin to think about making the individual pay for what they did. Our flawed sense of justice often compels us to believe that if we hold on to all the pain that was caused and refuse to let it go, we will be getting the justice we deserve. This is especially so when the individual does not appear to be sorry for what they have done. Unfortunately, we cannot force the individual to become a better person by resentfully withholding our friendship or kindness from them. We are only hurting ourselves as we force our minds to relive the pain over and over again. While we are angrily storming through life with the heaviness of resentment in our hearts, our countenance, our speech, and our mood will be adversely affected. Despite the fact that we may have been wronged by one or maybe a few individuals, everyone around us will begin to be affected. Resentment often causes us to be irritable, depressed, and generally very unpleasant. And to make matters worse, it is often the people we love and not the people that wronged us who will end up suffering as a result of what took place. The weight of resentment has also been known to affect our memory, productivity at work, ability to perform routine tasks, ability to focus, and even our sex drive. Being bitter and refusing to forgive has also been linked to weakened immune systems, poor heart health, and even high blood pressure. As you can see, refusing to forgive will never prove beneficial. But what exactly is forgiveness? Is it simply forgetting what took place? Does forgiveness means we simply pretend that nothing happened? Nope. It is not that simple. When we forgive, we must involve more than our words. We must change how we think and feel about the individual. It is as if we are allowing them to start with a clean slate all over again. You refuse to allow the situation to cause you or the parties involved to hurt you any longer. This requires a high level of emotional intelligence, self-control, and love. Forgiveness is not just letting them off the hook for what they did, it is allowing those involved to stop dwelling in the past and move on to more important things. Forgiveness means that you fill yourself with love, and you radiate that love outward. You need to refuse to hang on to the venom or hatred that was engendered by the behaviors that caused the wounds. Wayne Dyer becoming that enraged as a result of someone else's actions, and allowing yourself to remain upset over what took place for an extended period of time, is really giving the individual the keys to your happiness. It is as if you are allowing that individual to control you, and they will continue to control you until you muster up the courage needed to forgive them. Forgiveness is also beneficial because it often results when we become aware of our own faults. It becomes easier for us to forgive when we remember that we too have had to ask for forgiveness many times. Contrary to what we may believe, we are not perfect. We sometimes hurt the people around us, even the ones we love, without even realizing it. When we refuse to harbor resentment and practice forgiveness, it will be easy for those around us to forgive us when we err. Here are a few reasons why it is beneficial to practice being forgiving. You will be a lot happier and in a much better mood, you will sleep better at night, you will not jeopardize your job by not being productive, you will not jeopardize your relationship with your significant other or your family, you will learn greater self-control and self-awareness, you will enjoy greater peace, you will gain the respect of those around you. You will no longer feel the pain of the damage that was done, you will experience less anxiety, your self-esteem will increase as you observe your own personal strength. What forgiveness is not. Being forgiving does not mean you have to be a pushover and allow yourself to be hurt over and over again. While you will let go of any grudge that you may have against the party or parties that wronged you, you certainly do not have to put yourself in a position for you to be hurt that way again. It is perfectly acceptable to be a little more cautious now that you have seen what these people are capable of. But please be very careful. In the case of minor offenses, which are those that were not purposefully malicious, do not make the mistake of assuming that the act represents who the person is. Please remember that we all make mistakes, and we too have caused someone else pain. Forgiveness is also not an opportunity for revenge. Declaring that you have forgiven someone is not a proclamation that you now have the upper hand. The persons involved may have been guilty, but they certainly do not owe you anything. Even if they do not apologize, you have still gained quite a lot by extending this peace offering, and letting go of the bitterness that once consumed you. Remember that by being forgiving, you are doing yourself a favor. While they might benefit as a result of your decision, forgiving them is actually a gift to yourself. How to forgive? Because we are both aware that forgiving someone who hurt you is not easy, I would never demand that you do so instantly or all at once. You have the option of forgiving in stages. Gradually letting go of your resentment towards the individuals who have wronged you will ensure that you have enough time to root out any trace of the bitterness you have towards them out of your mind and heart. If you get the opportunity to see this person often, you can start by simply saying hello. This may come as a surprise to them because they were not expecting such a kind gesture, and that might open the way for the discussion you both need to get some closure. Sometimes, even though you were wronged, it is best to take the initiative to set matters straight. Always remember how this humble act will benefit you in the long run, whether they appreciate the gesture or not. Another simple exercise that will help us to forgive is writing down the name of the person or persons that hurt you and listing all that they have ever done to upset you. Once you have completed that list, write a list of all the occasions on which you have hurt someone and had to ask for forgiveness. This is not something that we are inclined to think about. Seeing in black and white how often we have let our bad habits hurt those around us, especially those we love, may be just the push we need to let go of any grudges we may have. What is even more alarming to some individuals is when they see the names of the person they resent on the list of persons who they have had to ask for forgiveness. Another useful exercise would be to make a list of all the good things this person has done for you. This exercise will help you to remember that despite their faults, this individual or these individuals also have many beautiful qualities as well. In the case of those closest to us, these qualities are the very reason why we loved them and kept them close in the first place. Just think, extending the olive branch of peace may even help this person to see the flaw in their thinking and change for the better. You would have made the world a better place by helping just one individual to become a better person. Such kindness does not go unnoticed, or without reward. It takes a very strong person to be forgiving. But think of how much better our lives would be if we did not walk around with the bitterness of resentment each day. Letting go of that heavy burden is one of the best ways to heal ourselves. This world was already a catastrophe, and it certainly does not need any more resentment to make it worse. The next chapter will explain how being generous can also help us become far happier and more successful people in this world, simply by being generous.